Hello everyone, I want to do a quick video to explain the assignment 2. This week, in addition to your Wiley Plus work, you also have to do a short paper. And you can find that information in the assignment 2 area where it says web page. You need to submit this in the Dropbox area under assignment 2. Don't get this confused and submit it as alternative assignment, because that's for the seminar. Submit this as assignment 2 and make sure you submit this as a Word doc, not a PDF file. It's easier for me to grade that way. So if you go to assignment 2, you'll see the requirements, and everything you need is on this page, although I'll show you that there's additional information in the announcements too. Anyhow, here's just what you need to do. First of all, they give you a scenario which you can read through, but the checklist is what we're going to focus on. Make sure you write this paper as a 2 to 3 page paper, no more than 3 pages in the body. You can have a title and a reference page, but no more than 3 pages in the body of the paper. Make sure it's your own work and not done by a chat box or something like that. Here's the requirement. So first of all, the first one doesn't tell you much, but the second one says that you want to define the term materiality as it's defined in the conceptual framework. You will need to use concept statement 8. You will need to have that one. So we'll look at how you get that. There's some other things for me to discuss as far as your source, but make note, concept statement 8 is required. It also asks you for examples of quantitative materiality guidelines. When you find these examples, quantitative has to do with numbers, like a 10% drop would be quantitative because it uses a number, whereas a significant drop would be qualitative. We're looking for quantitative examples as per the requirements. I'll show you where you can find those in the concept statements, as well as if you decide to use another source. Also, the term articulation can be found in concept statement 6. Concept statement 6, which was from the past, can also be useful because the information is still accurate. It says to provide a minimum of 2 scholarly sources. One must be concept statement 8. The second one can be one of the prior concept statements, 2 or 6, or both. If you decide to go outside of concept statements and find another source, it needs to be of academic or professional quality, which means it cannot be a blog. It needs to be written by a person that we can check their credentials. It needs to come from a source that we know is accurate, so a peer-reviewed journal, such as the Journal of Accountancy, would work. But if you just use a blog or use Investopedia and there's no way to determine the credibility, that source will not count. It says to provide your conclusion, but I always say don't forget your introduction too. And then of course the way you write it, spelling, grammar, all that counts too. How can I get concept statement 8 as well as the other ones? Well, first of all, to get concept statement 8, you can start by going to the FASB website, and then from here you can click on non-authoritative concept statements, and it takes you right to concept statement number 8. Concept statement number 8 is a compilation of 1 through 7. That's why they don't show 1 through 7. However, you can still use 1 through 7. Concept statements 1 through 7 does not mean that those are no longer accurate. It's just that they put together 8 as a compilation of all the other ones. So you have to use concept statement 8, and what you need to do is to download it. So one way you can do it is to download it by selecting this link, accept, and then download it. The reason I say download it is because you want to be able to search it. It's got 219 pages, so it'd be a lot easier to search this with keywords, and on my computer at least you can't do that unless you download it. But before we go to the PDF version, let's also look at other ways you can access this. You can also go to the codification, and once you're in the codification, you need to prove you're not a robot. Hopefully you're not, but nowadays one never knows. And then once you open that, course, accept the terms. You can go down to other sources, concept statements, and it takes you to the same information for concept statement 8, and you can access the file that way. Another way is if you're in the announcements, you can go to this link that we provided with a password. This is just a subscription that we have for additional information, but it's going to really take you to the same place. So once you open that area, you add your password, open up FASB codification, and then you'll notice you're in the same place. Just showing you the different things you could do to access them. Notice that I have this concept, the conceptual framework for financial reporting. This is what is under concept statement 8. Notice I have this in another PDF reader because now I can search it for keywords, and it makes it a lot easier, and then it explains the information as you go down. It's a lot of pages, but we don't need to read every single word. You can see that what they did was they took the concept statements 1 through 7 and they put the information in different chapters. You can notice in the preface they explain that the book does not include concept statements 1 through 7 because they were superseded by 8. That doesn't mean that 1 through 7 are incorrect. It just means that it's kind of like a new edition of a book. It doesn't mean the old edition is incorrect. It just means that the new edition is the one that they're going to focus on. So using concept statement 8, this document here is required for this paper. However, I would suggest that if you look in concept statements 2 and 6, they'll both provide you information. Number 1, 2 will provide you information on the quantitative materiality, and concept statement 6 will provide you information on articulation. If you decide to use other sources instead of concept statements 2 and 6, then you'll have to make sure that they're of academic quality. If you want to find concept statements 2 or 6, just go to a search engine and look for FASB concept statement number 2 or concept statement number 6. If you do a search for that, you can find the PDFs that are still there and available. It's just that they're difficult to find on the front page of FASB. They've kind of got them buried, so using a search engine is a lot easier way to do that. So once you find the information, you can search, for example, materiality, and you can find information in materiality. I'm just going to keep searching until I find a section that I want to read. Do not copy and paste. It is not going to be, I'm not going to consider copying and pasting as you providing the information, because that's just you providing something else that's not your own words. I want your own words explaining materiality as it's presented in the concept statements. If you want to find specific information on quantitative materiality, again, it's easiest to find in concept statement 2, which was superseded by 8, but the information is still valid. As a matter of fact, if you go down to the very bottom, there's an appendix, quantitative materiality considerations, where they give you examples that you could use. As a matter of fact, if you even go further, look, they even talk about these examples that you could use straight in this table. So that's very useful for you. For articulation, I find concept statement 6 much more useful because it goes into more detail than concept statement 8 on the term articulation. Some key things to remember. Number 1, make sure you use concept statement 8 as one of your required scholarly sources. Number 2, other scholarly sources must be of academic quality. If you decide to use concept statement 2 and 6, that's fine. If you decide to use an outside source, make sure it's from a credible author and peer-reviewed work that we know is accurate. And number 3, do not copy and paste. Make sure you explain all these things in your own words. I want to know that you understand them, not that you can find something and copy and paste it. Hope that's helpful for you, and have a nice week.